Hey Janie, this is Alex at Beckley's RVs in Thurmont, Maryland. I want to thank you for your purchase of the Georgetown, and I want to go over some basic things that you're going to need to operate the vehicle and camp with it and have great success with it. So first off, the two most important things with any RV of any type, whether it's a travel trailer or motorhome, is you need to check your seals every 90 days or do a visual inspection. Now what does that mean? Everywhere where two body panels come together, or there's a hole through the fiberglass where something's screwed into it, there's a caulk around it. Now, being that this is used, I highly recommend that you have somebody go over the whole coach with a tube of Dicor and make sure that it's sealed up properly. There's two types of products that we're going to use on this. There's vertical wall sealant, which does not sag, it's called no sag sometimes, for the sidewalls, and there's self-leveling for the roof. Now the one on the roof is like a putty that never really gets hard, and the reason for that is because the sunlight's going to expand and contract that every single day, every morning and afternoon, and you don't want it to get firm. That lasts for between 3 and 5 years for the applications of that, but you still want to be checking it every 90 days just to make sure there's no cracks that open up. The less you travel with it, the less issues you'll have with the roof and the cracking coming open. However, you're still subject to UV light, which especially down there in Arizona is going to be beating down on that roof, and that is going to cause over the time for it to deteriorate. Luckily, a case of the product from Dicor is not that expensive. You can get it at Lowe's, Walmart, any of your RV supply stores. So you're going to use self-leveling on the top and vertical wall sealant on the side. The second thing that you want to do is to make sure that your tire pressure is proper. Now the tire pressure, tire pressure is 90 psi on these. They're rated to 120, but 90 will be what you want to inflate them to. On the back ones, you'll see that there's two valves. The one is for the inner tire and the other is for the outer tire, and it's what they call valve stem extenders. Those were options that somebody had put on the coach to make it easier putting the valves in, or putting the air in. Now over here we have our battery disconnect switch right inside the door. It's going to be located right here. This is your on-off for your camper. If you're just going to have this parked outside your mom's house and you're going to be using it throughout the day or week, you're just going to leave this on permanently. Okay, so when we get ready to use our RV, we turn it on, connect, and when we are not using it, we disconnect down here. Okay, so for your use, you're probably just going to leave it on all the time. Now, after we've turned the battery disconnect on, we're going to come over to here. There's two sources of power for the coach. You have the generator and you have shore power. If you're home parked outside your house, you're going to be using the shore power, and that's through this 50 amp cord right here. The auto disconnect switch is the thing that we replaced, and that's right here. That switches over from the shore power to the generator automatically, so you don't have to. There is a 2 minute delay on that in the event that there's two sources of power for some reason, or it gets confused. It'll shut down, reset, and come back on after 2 minutes. Now, what you get with the coach is this long black cord here, and I'm throwing in one of the 50 amp to 30 amp adapters. We're operating on a 30 amp here. You can operate one air conditioner on the 30 amp here with no problem. And if you do end up having an electrician run 50 amp outside the house or something, that would be ideal, but you don't have to. You can operate this on the 30 amp. You just have to use one air conditioner at a time. While we're over here, there's the generator, Generac generator, and I'll show you how that operates on the inside. It's simple push start. You've got a fuel primer here that you prime it with, and then you push start, And I think I had to do this from inside because this is because I had it turned on from in there. A couple things on your generator while we're here. This would be something you'll probably have a technician do. On a Generac, it's real easy to get to your oil filter is right here. Your oil fill is right here. And then this is your little dipstick to check the level of the oil. With generators, unlike your car, which is a little forgiving, it has to be exactly the amount of oil that it says in the manual to put in here. And then the oil drain is right down here. That's easy to get to, makes life really easy. You'll want to change the oil in your generator every 100 hours. And it's already changed now. Remember, we serviced the generator there for you. So you won't need to worry about that for at least 100 hours. You should change that. That is a little bit forgiving. I mean, there are people that probably never change oil on their generator, but they shouldn't do that. It'll make it last longer if you don't. If you do. Over here is your water heater. This is a DSI water heater, or direct spark ignition. If you're not using your water for more than 30 days, you want to drain the water out of here. There's a pressure release right here that you'll open the pressure release. It'll take the pressure off, and you open the drain cock down there, and it'll drain the water out. If you don't, you're going to get a very sulfury, sour smell to the water. And in that case, you need to take that drain plug out and flush out with water for maybe 15 minutes or so to get the scale residue out inside. In here is our propane tank on the bottom, and then we've got our water pump right there in the center on the top. While we're here, I doubt you're going to need to winterize where you are, but if you do, this is your winterization hose here. That goes down into a bucket of antifreeze, RV grade antifreeze. You turn this switch here so that it's no longer coming, actually that's from the water tank, coming from the water tank, but it's going to the sucking it out of here, and then it'll pump the antifreeze through your system for you. Down here, this apparatus is a drain for the water tank and overflow. So if you fill the water tank too much, it comes out over there. Storage areas are located up in here. They have lights in them. They have keys for them. Your front tires are your most important tires, your steering tires. Now, we talked about these are 2018 tires. These were in November of 2018. It would be a good idea at some point at least change out the front two drive tires. Keep those within 5 years of age. If you have a blowout with the back of them, it's not as big a deal, but if you have a blowout with your steering tires, it can be a big deal. To access your engine compartment, there's a round key on the keychain. Give those a quarter turn, the piece comes down. Located in here, you're going to have your windshield washer fluid, you're going to have your oil dipstick, your oil fill, your transmission dipstick, your brake fluid, and so forth. There will be nothing of the engine that you can see in a Class A, but all the stuff to maintain it is up there. This is the other side of that same compartment we were looking at. On your slide out gaskets, you should use slide out gasket preservative down where you are at least every 2 months or so to keep that rubber nice and soft and supple. And if you wanted to, you could even do it on the gaskets around the windows. These gaskets don't keep water out of the windows. They keep debris and water out of the frame of the window. The actual window is bonded to the aluminum. You do have awnings on each of the windows. Those were optional. They had put on. They're Dometic. I can see you're going to want to put a bead of caulk around all of them. The caulk's getting a little old. The fabric also could probably be replaced on those. That's not a big deal. Sometimes it does take a friend to help you out with it, but on those little awnings, you should be okay by yourself. Back here, another storage area. And again, you use a cylinder lock on either side. You have a receiver on the back, and I believe there was a plug somewhere here. Oh yeah, there it is. 7-pin plug right there. So if you did want to tow a cargo trailer or something like that, you could. I am not an electronics person, so I'm not going to try to explain how the satellite works on here, but it does have one. And I saw some paperwork in the deal, or in the manual packet here, regarding that. Your steps are on a switch, and that switch is located right here also, and that turns your steps on and off. So if you're gonna leave the steps out permanently, you can turn them off so that they don't keep going in and out every time you shut the door. Also, with that, if you got it mounted permanently on a spot where you're not going to move it for a while, it wouldn't be a bad idea to put a block under the bottom step to just give it some reinforcement, so it doesn't, because motorhome steps do give just a little bit when you step on them, and they make a metal bracket you can use to reinforce it underneath. But in minimum, a little wooden block would do. And you got some compartment light switches and other things down there. Let's see here. Oh, this is your manual case here. And then you've got your 2 sets of keys there. There's another set up here in the ignition. This is the engine ignition there, and that's got one of every key you need on it. These are the ones I'm going to have the driver use, and I'm going to put the others in that red case for you there. Now, there's an auxiliary start button over there. In the event that you forget and leave like your headlights or something on and your coach batteries are dead, you can start the coach by pressing that, and it bridges the house and the chassis battery together. So there's 2 sets of batteries on this. There's one set of batteries up front for the coach, and that operates the engine and all the stuff that Ford made. And then there's another set of batteries that are underneath the stair right here. You use the same cylinder lock. There's 2 little locks on the front of this step. That comes off, and then you've got 2 house batteries in there. You don't need 2. They upgraded from 1 to 2, but it has 2 on it now. You can get away with just 1 if you're keeping the coach in one place. So anyway, that's what that button does, is it bridges those together. Now, the opposite of that is also true. If I needed to start the generator and I ran my house batteries down, the generator starts on the house batteries. I can also bridge the engine and the chassis battery together to start the generator. Now, to start the generator, I press and hold on the right hand side. This is going to prime it, and I count to about 15. Then I press on the left, and there we go. Press on the left, light stays on, generator's running. And again, now I probably confused it here in that I started the generator while it's plugged into shore power. It's a good idea not to do that. But hold on one second. I just got a message here. Let me see if it's your shipper. Nope, not yet. Okay, so generator. A couple things on the generator. You do need 1/4 of a tank of gas for the generator to run at minimum. So we're right at where the minimum amount is for it. If you fill the gas tank up, it'll use the generator up until it gets to 1/4 tank, then it automatically shuts off for safety so you don't run out of gas in the middle of nowheres. But back to starting it. So I started in, and I could hear it in the back. It clicked, and it disconnected the air conditioning for just a second, and then it realized, okay, I still have shore power and I have generator power, so then it clicked it back over. And now it'll take about 2 minutes for a reset. There it goes, and the air conditioner starts back up again. Or quicker. All right. What else do we need up here? There's a dash fans up top there. You've got a map light above you, fog lights. You'll figure all that stuff out. That's kind of regular automotive grids. You do have a observation camera in the back. so you can see what's behind you when the engine's running. Your refrigerator. So let me put this down here and well, let me do the slides first. Over here. Your slides are operated here on these switches. Now the process for Georgetown is engine off, parking brake applied, of course the battery on, and then you can operate your in and out of the slide out rooms. So, it's dry out here today, sorry I'm coughing. So, if you have the engine running, there's a cutout, it won't work. And what you do is you press and you hold, you'll see one slide out room coming in, and when it's all the way in, then you let off of it. You don't want to do both of them at the same time. They do take a lot of amperage from the battery to get those to work. Also, you have your checks for your systems up here, your battery condition, fresh water, black water, gray water, so forth. Your black water is the number 2, gray water is your sinks and your shower, and the fresh water is your water that you can take with you. Now, there's 2 water systems on an RV, and if you're at a house, you're going to want to use the fresh or city water system. So what that is that's the city water connection on the outside underneath. That just goes straight into the faucet, so it uses the pressure of the city water for water to come out of here. The other method is the tank, and so there's the tank and that pump we saw down there, and that pumps water into the water system. So city water or tank and pump, one or the other, never both at the same time, and those will both put water into your water system. Okay? Air conditioner controls, there's 2 of them. There's one here in the living room, and there's one right back there in the bedroom. Okay? Now, let's see, where were we at? Refrigerator, that's right. Okay, these are called gas electric refrigerators. Now I've had this on for a little while, so it's starting to cool down inside here. The way this works is not like your home refrigerator. This works like a marine refrigerator. There's a canister of ammonia down in the bottom. Down in the bottom here, behind all your stuff. Whether it's gas or electric, somehow that gets heated up and turned into a gas. As it gets to about here, it starts to cool off again and turn back into a solid, except these aluminum fins are absorbing the heat of all the stuff here in the refrigerator, and that's creating heat for that ammonia again, so that it goes up this way into the system. At the top, we have the freezer, and because this is the shortest set of coils, this gets colder than this. So a couple things with how a gas electric works. First off, you do have to be fairly level for these to operate. If you're parked on a hill like this, it's not going to work right because the ammonia in the bottom is all the way at one end. The second thing is, it doesn't also have to be perfect. It can be somewhat forgiving, but it has to be pretty close. Also, there's an air vent on the roof, and there's an air vent, or actually it's on the outer wall out here because this is in a slide, and then there's an air vent at the bottom. You want to keep those free of bugs, dirt, and debris by spraying those out with air a couple times a year. If you open the bottom one, you'll see there's a bunch of wires in the canister for the ammonia and all that stuff in there. Being that you're where it's really hot and dry, you can increase the efficiency of the refrigerator by adding a refrigerator fan down there to help circulate the air behind the refrigerator. The more air that circulates there, the better it cools. But because you're trying, it's basically a heat pump, and you're trying to pump heat out of here to the outside, and it's already hot outside, the more airflow is going to give you a better refrigeration to your coach. Your stove. You got a simple gas stove, you turn it on, you got a sparker here, it sparks for the stove, lights the stove. The oven is not. You light the oven, you turn the oven on light, and you go underneath with a stick lighter, and right down there you'll see a white ceramic piece where the pilot light comes out. You light the pilot light, and once that's lit, then you can turn it to whatever temperature you want. If you choose to use the oven, and a lot of people never use this type of oven, but if you do, use a oven thermometer to get accurate reading of what temperature you're at. It's best for pizzas and spatchcock chicken. You're not going to be baking cookies in an RV. Over here in our dining room nook, we've got a second television here, a little table here that's strapped down. This door here opens up, gives you privacy in the bedroom if you have guests over or something. Walking through this way, we're going into the bathroom. We've got a porcelain toilet here. The way an RV toilet works, you always have some form of liquid in the toilet. If you're winterized, you're going to have the pink antifreeze down in here, and if you're not, you're going to have water down in there. To add water to the toilet, you push halfway down with the flush valve, and to flush it, you push all the way down with the flush valve. That goes straight down into the black tank. Now, with the black tank, you do want to keep some enzyme treatment in the black tank so that it helps break down all the solids that are in there. So let's talk a little bit about maintenance and everything on your black and your tank system. Get this over here where you can see me. All right, on the black tank is basically shaped like a triangle, like this. It drains from here and it fills from here. And what it does is it uses gravity to push all the solids out. Now it's going to be a mix of solids and water because of the flushing process. When you empty your black tank, you want to make sure it's got at least a gallon or two of water in there. Then I'm going to drop that enzyme tablet and it's going to go down there. It's going to help eat away all the stuff. There is a product called a black tank flush that you can use that'll help clean this tank out, and you don't have to use it every time, but every few times would be fine. And that'll spray water inside and help you clean the black tank out. But as long as you use the tank properly, you really don't need that. As long as you keep water in the tank, you've got the enzyme tablets going in there, and then you empty your tank regularly when it gets full, or 3/4 full, you'll be fine. You really don't want the black tank to be full. You also don't want the black tank to be empty. When you're emptying the black tank at a camp station or a dump site or whatever, you need to fill it 3/4 full with water before you dump it so that gravity will pull all the stuff down out of it. Now, how can you do that? Well, you can add it with the black tank flush on the outside if you have one. If not, you can buy a kit and have one installed. Or you can just simply hold down on the toilet lever. Holding down on the toilet puts fresh water down and through the toilet and will fill up your black tank for you. Your gray water tank is a lot easier to maintain. Really, there's nothing you've got to do with the gray water tank. Empty it, fill it. It will fill up quicker than the black tank, which is why they have the disparity of sizes on the two of those. And then your fresh tank, you do want to flush and sanitize your fresh tank every 2 years or so, I would recommend. I do mine every 2 years. And that's a product that is a chemical. Camco makes one. It's got 2 packets in a box for 20 bucks. And you add that packet to a gallon of water, and then you pour it into your freshwater tank. And then you fill the freshwater tank with water, let it sit for 24 hours, and wash it out. Now let's talk about bleach. You will see all sorts of YouTubers talking about putting bleach in their black tank, or that's the worst thing you can do, putting bleach in your freshwater tank or whatnot. First off, I don't drink out of my freshwater tank. I drink out of water bottles, and I use the freshwater tank for showering, hand washing, and so forth. Nothing wrong with it. There's a lot of people that do it. I just prefer knowing that water can sit stagnant and go bad, especially when it's outside. I just drink fresh water. But my hand washing water and all that stuff, I could use that out of the gray tank. But I never put bleach in my tank. Right? I personally have a very susceptible stomach to breaking down food, and so anytime you introduce bleach into water, even just a teaspoon of in a few gallons, you're going to rob yourself of those enzymes that you need in your body to break down your solids and so forth. So I never recommend bleach. You'll see a lot of people out there that do on the internet, but it's up to you. There's other products that are much better suited for that. So that is your tank system that you have in here. Now, your electric system over in the back there, that is your 12 volt and 110 breaker box, and that also contains what they call the basement, and that's the thing that converts the 110 into 12 volts so that you can power the coach with 12 volt. Everything in the coach runs off 12 volt except your TVs, your refrigerator in 110 mode, your microwave, and your air conditioner. All your lights, your fans, your pumps, all that stuff is 12 volt, which is why they have the two 12 volt batteries on there. Comes originally with one. It gives you extra power to be able to stay off the grid longer. Now, let's see here. I think kind of covered everything. Let's just go out and take a look at that water outside, so I'll show you where the freshwater fill is, since I didn't mention that when we were out here. That's a generator. All right. This is your city water fill here. So this city water being hooked up at your mom's house or wherever, you're gonna put the hose in here, and it's gonna go down through here so you can keep the door closed, or it looks like it might even go down through there if you want. And then the freshwater tank is here. That only fills the tank. It means you got to use a pump for this one. That's when you would be on the road. And then your black tank flush is right here, and it's all labeled there for you. Let's see. Had to check the manuals on this one. This one says that the sewer flusher, this valve must be open, so it must have some type of air vent inside there that this operates for this gate valve here, and also an air vent for the wastewater holding tank, probably because they're up high enough in this model that you wouldn't be able to put a vent on the top, or it would vent into the coach. So either way, that's your water inlets there. And then oh, and your gas, you just use the cheap gas in these. You don't use the expensive stuff, just the regular lowest octane inexpensive stuff you can get. So hopefully this covers most of the things that you'll need to work on the coach initially. And feel free, if you have any questions, give me a call. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And the shipper should be here in the next 45 minutes or so. They said they were going to be here by noon to pick the coach up. And I hope you have a great camping experience with it. If there's any questions I can answer for you. Oh, one last thing. There are 6 essential things that you need to have with this coach to operate it safely, and they're very inexpensive. A couple of them we talked about, but a water pressure regulator, a water filter, and a water hose. Then a sewer hose, and a separate hose for the black tank flush and your toilet tablets. You also want to use RV marine grade toilet paper in here. You don't want to use home toilet paper because it doesn't break down. The glue's the incorrect type of glue holding the fibers together. In a pinch, you can use the Scott one-ply toilet paper because there's no glue in it. But yeah, those are the 6 essential things. You, if you had come in here and pick this up in person, you would get a gift certificate, and that gift certificate you will be able to use towards some of that stuff. You also get a little discount. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the pressure regulator and the hose for you, and put that in here, and that the gift certificate should cover that. If not, I'll take care of the rest. And hope you have a great time camping. If you've got any questions at all, feel free to give me a call. Thanks.